Hi, I'm Chris Cunnane, Research Director for Supply Chain Management at ARC Advisory Group. As part of our ongoing executive leadership interview series, I'm joined today by Kushal Nahata, co-founder and CEO at FarEye. Kushal, thanks for joining me today.
Thanks, Chris, for inviting me. Pleasure to be here.
Now, I know we have a lot to cover, so I want to get going as quick as possible. But before we jump into the core of the questions, for anyone that might not be familiar with FarEye, could you just kind of give me a little bit of background on the company?
Absolutely. So FarEye is a last mile technology platform. We help all kinds of brands, businesses, and logistic companies to really transform their last mile on two aspects. One, from a cost perspective, how do they really optimize the cost? But most importantly, also ensure that they deliver a superior customer experience. And I think we are in that shift right now where companies are trying to optimize the cost while enhancing the customer experience.
Thank you for the background. So, reducing cost per delivery is a major KPI improvement that both retailers and logistics providers are focusing on. What are some things these companies can do to reduce delivery costs, and how does technology play a role?
Absolutely. Look, and specifically the time right now, I think most of the companies are going through the cost pressures. The logistic leaders, supply chain leaders are sitting at the desk, understanding how they can reduce the cost. We've been working with hundreds of customers for the same problem statement. So I'd love to share our insights on how we've worked with them and what do we hear from the customers as well. So I think the first is understanding what is your existing cost per delivery, what is the breakup, and then leveraging some level of insights, machine learning, or at least a basic reporting where okay, this is my existing cost per delivery, these are the breakups, and it will not be same across. So you will have different regions, different hubs, different branches, which will have different cost trends. If you know that, it becomes a great starting point because now you know where you stand, what is adding to that cost, and then what are the trends around that. I think the next step, once you figure that out, what we've seen is leveraging capabilities like routing and carrier allocation. So these are advanced algorithm, intelligent platforms, capabilities, which help you to minimize distance, minimize fuel consumption, and the time spent on the road. How do you increase that for the drivers as well? This leads to reducing cost per delivery, or we can say increased efficiency. And the good thing is, it's not just for today, but these are some of the things which help you get the benefits continuously over months, quarters, and years as well. I think the next step, once you've now looked at, these are my costs, you've reduced some of the cost either by routing or deploying carrier management platform, which gives you an ability to work with multiple carriers, choose local carriers which are cost efficient, at the same time provide a reliable service. The next goes on the customer side as well, and which typically what we call it is a pre-purchase engagement, where technology again can help you to dynamically allocate or suggest slots to your customers so that your overall route is optimized while keeping your customer happy and delivering them a beautiful experience from a brand perspective. I think this could be a good starting point for companies to focus on reducing their cost per delivery.
So you mentioned a little bit about the customer experience there in that answer. So I want to dig a little bit deeper. So the customer delivery experience is critical now that delivery has really become an extension of a retailer's brand. So how can retailers use technology to enhance the customer experience?
Absolutely. And look, in e-commerce, online, or an omni-channel world, I completely echo with you that delivery experience is actually an extension of a brand experience itself. So I think the first starting point is ensuring that you have real-time tracking and updates sent to your customers so they know where is the shipment and when will it arrive. I think that's the biggest anxiety. Even you and I as consumers, when placing the order, we want to know when will it arrive and where is it, so that we have a promises linked to those products, linked to those items, and that we are ensured can be delivered. I think the next step becomes personalization. There's a high amount of repeat buyers on your platform. So if you know what is the preference of your customers, you can personalize the delivery experience accordingly. It could be preferred delivery, it could be delivery locations, it could be custom marketing messages as well. I think the other area which is not linked to the delivery, but is extremely important is also returns. I think about 90% of users and consumers ordering online want to know what is the return policy and are they comfortable with that or not. So I don't think you can decouple returns. Obviously, it's a debate that should it be a free returns or should be a paid returns, but offering a customer-centric return policy becomes another important area. I think the last two options which I'll touch upon is enhanced communications, where customer is able to know real-time updates of anything happening. Obviously, everything cannot go as the way you've planned, but updating the customer beforehand if their deliveries are running late or if something has happened for that specific location, at least helps you protect that trust with the customer. And I think last, which I would also recommend is, I think we all are moving towards a sustainable era. Everyone is trying to contribute into sustainable living. So offering those sustainable delivery options, I feel as a consumer also plays a big role. So brands have their initiatives, they have their mandates, extending that to that end consumer, that you can get a delivery today, and here are also some greener and more sustainable delivery options as well, which will help you both build that customer's trust and also reduce your overall carbon footprint and cost as well.
Most retailers outsource their last mile deliveries, through large logistics providers, whether it's, UPS, FedEx, or postal services. So how can retailers and logistics providers better cooperate to provide enhanced service and reduce costs?
Oh, absolutely. And I think both sides, logistic companies and retailers, they have a lot of people working and doing manual operations just to coordinate with each other. I think technology can play a significant role. It starts with data sharing and integration, I would say, where companies have integrated their platforms and retailers have a complete visibility of what's happening to the shipments they've given to their logistics service providers. They can further enhance it, where they can integrate all the logistic providers to a single platform, and they can have visibility across the service providers they're trying to work with. I think the next, once you are tracking, the next important is what is the performance matrix which you have set as a goal for the service provider? What is that on-time SLA? What happens if the SLA is breached? What is the customer satisfaction level that you have promised? So having those metrics and transparently sharing it back with the service providers, so that they know, okay, this is the delivery service promise, and this is where we are, and this is how we are improving. And I think last would be shared innovation and technology. You're working with some service providers who do not have technology, or some areas where you've invested technology. I think extended the technology stack to the service providers, extending capabilities like route optimization, like mobile app for real-time tracking, really helps in overall strengthening the ecosystem. Because at the end of the day, these service providers are the guys on the ground who are moving your shipments and delivering your brand and your brand's promise to the end customer. So looking at it as a partnered technology stack and integrating becomes a great step to improve efficiency at both sides, for the service provider and for the retailer as well.
At what point should retailers that outsource their deliveries consider managing their own fleet or delivery network?
This is a great question, and we get asked, been personally asked this from most of the retailers and service providers. At what point should we own? What point should we outsource? I don't think there's a silver bullet which exists that at this scale or at this stage. I think, but there are factors to come to an answer. I would start with, look, delivery experience is extension of your brand experience. So you should look at factors such as what kind of flexibility do you want to provide as your delivery services, which could be speed, which could be change of delivery locations. What is that control you're looking as a brand, and what is that customer experience? And lastly, the cost. At what scale, what is your cost per delivery in an outsourced model? I think looking at these four factors, it gives you a great perspective on what stage and scale you can start delivering with your managed or own fleet, but at a lesser cost. But I would also recommend cost shouldn't be the only factor. I think customer experience And building this as a competitive advantage are the other factors to consider when you're trying to debate between should I outsource or should I have it managed fleet. And eventually, I don't think it'll be either or, it'll be a hybrid approach where companies have certain regions where they will still operate as an outsourced, but areas where it's more dense, where you want to be closer to your customers and you want to know the pulse, you will have your own fleet as well. So hybrid tech stack is what I would suggest as a eventual evolution journey.
Delivery networks create a wealth of data, including stops per hour, fuel consumption, carbon emissions, customer satisfaction, to name a few. How can retailers and logistics providers accurately capture this data and then act upon the insights they generate?
Oh, absolutely. I think including areas on reducing the cost, improving the customer experience, all of it eventually boils down to, do you know where is your performance today? And that fundamental is data collection. So I think one is definitely mandating or integrating with logistics systems, service provider systems, so that you get all the data in the different shapes and form in terms of customer NPS, and this is delivery NPS I'm specifically talking about, shipment size, delivery location, delivery ETA, all those informations to be collected and mandated from the carriers on a single platform, so that you're not really having data disintegrated or in different attributes. All of this data to be integrated to a single platform, and then you can normalize that data, you can and then eventually use it. Like the first step could be the visualize and reporting, where let's say on a weekly basis, do you know what is your cost per delivery? Do you know what is the customer NPS per delivery? What is the capacity utilization? Where is the delivery failed attempts or repeat attempts? I think then starting with capturing that data to actually monitoring it on a weekly, fortnightly basis, to eventually making it predictive and prescriptive and having actionable insights. So it's like if you're investing on a system, you need to see the value of it, and it cannot be just for monitoring. So it needs to move towards actionable insights, where you can have insights based on a hub, based on a region. It could be on a delivery SLA, it could be on customer NPS. So I think that's the journey on from collecting the data to eventually moving to predictive, prescriptive insights and making it actionable for your team to digest.
Well, Kushal, I want to thank you for joining me and sharing your insights today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much. It's my pleasure.
All right, my guest today was Kushal Nahata, co-founder and CEO at FarEye. Thank you for watching.